the champ. Going to pull up a seat there. Champ, where's the belt, champ? Dominick Cruz, he's just sitting in.
He has the belt.
Let's open up the mic. Where's the belt
at? The belt is outside.
The belt is here. Champ, how are you,
Try
buddy?
it on.
Mm-hmm.
Samter's going to try it on?
Yeah,
he might not.
fit him. Dominick, how are you, man?
I'm great.
Good.
I'm great. I'm out here in New York. I don't come out here too much, so when I do,
Where are you from?
It's always a trip.
San Diego.
I was raised in Tucson, Arizona, but I live San Diego now. I was born in San Diego.
Big Padres guy, big Chargers guy?
Chargers, I do, and I know a few of them, Weddle, a couple of the other guys.
Well, they did him wrong.
Yeah, they did. They screwed Eric Weddle.
Right. I know.
I don't like what they did
We've
to him.
actually talked about that.
What did he say? What did he say? Seriously, what did he say?
No,
where is he now? He's in
was just
Baltimore.
Yep.
It's just more like, whoa.
Yeah.
It was more like he was just like, whoa, I can't, because he did great for them.
He deserved better than that.
And they just didn't.
For those who don't know, and by the way, Dominick Cruz is with us in the studio. Tiki and Tierney, the UFC Bantamweight title holder, 22 wins, a loss. He's got the belt. We'll talk about UFC, have a little fun. But just for those who know about the Weddle, who was a great Charger, really, maybe not great, really good safety. I guess his daughter was performing at halftime, and he went out. He wasn't even active that week, and he went out to watch her perform during halftime, like kind of in the tunnel and a little more. And, like, they find him, and they just really
basically put him on
improperly.
They ended his season. So
they deactivated him.
They deactivated him for the last game. It was bad form by the San Diego Chargers. When you're out there in San Diego, I know there's a lot of athletes that go out there. Has UFC started to permeate that athlete world? Because there's some players gravitate to Las Vegas. Some of them are Arizona. A lot of them are in Florida. They're in San Diego. Are you guys starting to gain traction relationship-wise with some of the other athletes that are in those areas?
Athletes somewhat, but I'll be honest. I mean, you were a high-level athlete making high-level money.
I appreciate that.
Elite,
Thank you, Dominick.
You know? So the truth is, once you're in a certain tax bracket, people open themselves up more to you. And when you're not in that tax bracket, they just don't open up. And that's part of it. In the UFC and MMA is one of the fastest-growing sports in the world. The tax bracket is raising for us slowly as athletes. But if you really break it down, the reason why Vegas is the fight capital of the world is they don't have a pro team. So you're talking about San Diego Chargers. We're talking about the Padres. We're talking about all these things you can do in California and L.A. and San Diego. So it kind of washes out the fighting world a little bit because the media doesn't understand it the way they understand and can sound like they understand basketball, boxing, and baseball. So, or not boxing, but basketball, football.
Well, it used to be boxing.
Yeah, basketball,
then horse racing,
football, and baseball,
and
horse racing,
for
right?
Sure.
And so it kind of just it doesn't get the shine that it should. I'm a world champion in San Diego. I've been there a long time, and I'm doing what I can around the local circuits to try to get the media to pick up. But it's a hard thing to pick up because it's still just growing, and it's not as popular as some of these sports that I just named.
But the key word is growing. And when Tiki and I launched this show here, and, we don't need to rip down all the names, but, I mean, we've probably had 12 or 13 UFC stars, all divisions, men and women, in studio, a lot of conversations. We've had Dana White on the show a few times. When we first launched, I didn't know anything about it, except that you try to beat the crap out of somebody else and you win. But it has gone from, like a little niche thing to, I may sit around, have a couple of beers, watch this thing, to suddenly I'm engaged and I don't pretend to be a fighter by any stretch, but the tactical aspect, I think that you're selling it even a little short, with all due respect. I think it's grown more than maybe you recognize because you're inside of it.
Oh, no, I definitely recognize the growth. Since Fox picked it up, it's already the fastest growing sport on earth. How do you say
Do you know what's number 2? Just out of curiosity?
I believe it's
probably soccer or
probably
something like
women's wrestling is my guess. Okay. I was talking to some women at a wrestling event that I went to, and from what I understand, that's up there. But it's because if you think about it, the fastest growing sport in the world is mixed martial arts. What fuels mixed martial arts? Wrestling fuels mixed martial arts. Mixed martial arts fuels wrestling. And now with the women charge going up, Ronda Rousey doing things, Misha Tate, Holly
Ronda's
Holm.
finished. Come on, Dominick. She's finished, man. She lost her edge.
Yeah, you're an analyst.
She's
Where
finished.
is she?
I get what
She's
you're
done.
saying, but she's still one amongst the most popular women on earth.
What do you think happened to her?
Popularity doesn't win you fights, though.
Dominick, what do you think happened to her?
True.
I
hear that.
You know what I mean? Because it was like it was becoming more of a popularity thing as opposed to I got to grind and grind. I feel like if you don't grind, you're going to get your ass kicked.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's true, but it's a different sport we're in, man. It's not like you gotta touch people, and by just going in there and fighting, fans don't relate to it. They have to relate to a human being and a story. Ronda had that in her. And that's what people watched. They didn't watch her to fight. They watched because of her person. They watched Conor because of his person. They watched certain people because of their personality. Chael Sonnen, Anderson Silva was more of a fighter, but because he was Brazilian, he got more love from America and Brazil. I mean, there's so many different ways you can go, but it's a person that you have to connect to, and that's what really sells in fighting.
We're talking to Dominick Cruz, who is in studio with us here on Tiki and Tierney, CBS Sports Radio. Bantamweight, champ, 22 wins, 1 loss. The record is sterling, except for the one. You know, you talk about the ability to connect and have a transferable story, but also be able to back it up in the ring and fight.
Right.
And I referenced, we've had a lot of the fighters on our show. The first one we ever had, and we love him because he was the first one that came in with the belt, was Chris Weidman. But in our opinion, and Chris only lives about 35, 40 miles from here, from New York to Long Island, where he grew up. He's still there. He didn't have that edge, that personality. He didn't necessarily resonate with people. And I'm not trying to diss Chris because I really respect him. But that's part of the package, and I don't know that Chris Weidman had that. Am I right?
It's so hard, man. It is. That's the hardest piece to figure out, and this is why. We can't control it. I can't control if I'm liked or loved. And the truth is,
do you care?
You can't. That's the trick. You can't care because.
So you got to be like hard, but then also accessible. But then
it's more of
it's
like
you got to be.
I think what happens to
almost.
people is they're so used to wanting to be liked that they give up. What if people want to hate you, and that's why they watch you?
And that's an asset too.
And it is because there has to be a villain and there has to be a good guy.
What do they call that? It's the heel. The heel of the hero.
Wrestling.
Heel of the hero.
Yeah.
What are you? Where do you fall?
Well, babyface.
I don't know. It depends on who I'm fighting. I think it depends on who I fight because I got huge.
Oh wow, that's interesting.
I got huge cheers and huge backup when I fought Takaya Mizugaki after a 3-year layoff and my 3 injuries. And not so much support I felt. Cheers, just everybody was up on their feet. It was amazing. TJ Dillashaw, when I fought him, amazing, same thing. Cheers, everybody was on their feet. Everybody was stoked that I did it. And then I fight Faber, and we got this 10-year-long feud where he said stuff, I said stuff. He'd been in the sport a little bit longer, and I get booed coming out. And I always get booed facing that guy. So it's like, you never know. You never know how people are going to resonate with you. And the key is grasping a hold of whatever it is and running with it.
Yeah, I'm wondering, does that motivate you? Because I remember when I was playing, I intentionally tried not to hear anything because it gets to you sometimes.
Yeah.
Does it motivate you? Does it?
When you're in a sport where you're the only man in there,
of course,
and you got no way to really drown it out, you have to figure something out. You can either drown it out and say it doesn't matter. It can feed you. For me personally, I just don't mind either way. If I get cheers, it does fuel me. If I get booed, it fuels me. But each one has a different mind frame that I go to. If they're booing me, I can't wait to show everybody how stupid they are for booing me.
I'm not going to boo you, man. Trust me. Dominick Cruz with us in the studio. So you go about
Dominick's the smallest guy that we've had in yet.
That's where I was going. About a buck 35 on fight night-ish, something like that.
We always joke we can take the guys. We might be able to take you collectively. Get one side, get the other.
I got the mace. He's got the knife. This guy's got the
I'll
other
make
gadget.
sure and get out of this small room with you boys.
It's kind of like an octagon, too. It's actually right here. What is your – some people – I always mess around. Well, nobody cares about me. But, like, Tiki had to physically work to get big, thick legs. Like, he came out – he's pretty thin coming out of Virginia. What's your natural weight? Are you better thin or are you naturally thicker? I mean, you strike me as pretty thin, but at a buck 35, I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah, I'm 160 right now.
Are you really?
Yeah, and that's healthy. That's like me. That's me being healthy, eating what I want to eat when I want to eat.
So you're like a wrestler.
Gotta get in shape, man.
So when you fight,
oh yeah,
that's 25 pounds.
Yeah, I'm a wrestler.
How long would it take to shed 20 pounds?
First thing I ever did was wrestling.
No. I mean how to lose weight.
20 pounds.
Oh, to shed it.
To shed.
You said the other word.
No.
I was like, really?
No, to shed. I wish we could say it. It would be the best show in the history of radio if I could say whatever I want.
Yeah, you shocked me on that one.
That would be awesome.
To shed 20 pounds, this is the thing. I'm outside of camp right now, and when you're in camp, everything boosts up. So I'm only at 1 to 5 practices per week right now.
Okay.
I'm sorry. 1 practice a day, 5 days a week.
Gotcha.
When I'm in camp, I'm doing 2 practices a day, 5 days a week, and 1 workout on Saturday, and I'm off Sunday. So I only get 1 day off a week. When you do that, your body sheds a natural. You shred up, and I'm walking around no heavier than 154.
Do you want the guys that use – I always find the interesting dynamic with boxing where somebody's getting ready to spar and then prep for a big fight. You want to be challenged. You want to find somebody who maybe resembles or has a similar skill set to somebody going to fight.
Yep.
When you're sparring, do these guys really come at it? I mean, do they ever slip a shot where you're like, wow, or is it kind of controlled to the point where you could just tactically work on a few
There's
things?
practices where you're controlled and technical, and then there's practices where you're full-blown. It's just like football. You guys have half-pad days where you guys don't wear the bottom half, and if you attack low, somebody's getting shot.
You're right.
And then you got the other days where it's full pads, and you guys all know and you guys all understand we're trying to get each other that day, right? Same exact thing in fighting.
Yeah.
It goes both ways, and you got to have both because you need the technique without the brute on your body, and then you also need the brute on your body to prepare your body for the brute.
Yeah, because if you don't, you're not ready for
Correct.
a competition.
Full
accent.
speed is just a different.
You're right.
Different.
You're
thing.
also an analyst on Fox Sports, so some of this, I don't want to call it controversy, but it is what it is. Controversy around Dana White and the controlling of the promotion of the sport. What are the fighters' take on that?
Well, I mean, you're never going to get a straight answer in that because they control it.
I don't even know what that means.
He's kind of staring. There's like the death stare.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, how much?
I don't even know what
how
that
much?
means.
How much you gonna talk about the hand that feeds you in any other way except great?
Yeah.
Period.
Listen,
You're never gonna get another answer than that out of me.
there's a professional line that you have to adhere to, unless you're reckless or
Correct.
so wealthy it doesn't matter what you say.
Well, they're so wealthy, it doesn't matter what they say, but I'm not.
I hear you.
You believe
Still
that the
trying to work
sale's
your
going to
way
happen
up.
or no?
I think that Dana White, Lorenzo Fertitta, and those guys are the smartest businessmen
Let's not overdo it here, man.
I've ever surrounded
Dominick,
myself
let's not
with.
overdo it here, pal.
Hey, if you can
If,
tell,
if you think I'm lying,
BT,
tell me
I don't know,
somebody
just
better.
asking.
BT,
Donald
if you
Trump
could-
is the only
if
guy
you could-
better, probably.
But now, in all seriousness, you're Mexican, right?
Yes,
You just brought up Donald Trump.
I did.
Would you vote for him?
I don't vote at all because I think that the system is just a mess, in my personal opinion. I think we've got Donald Trump.
But how
and
do you ever
Hillary.
fix it if you don't vote?
Yeah, but you can't vote on anything if you're looking at two people that I don't care about. I don't like Hillary or Trump.
That's a lot
so
of people
why,
subscribe to
how
that
the
right
heck
now.
am I going to choose something
Yep.
that I have really no say in?
Yeah, there's a lot of apathy that may happen.
No, there
with
is.
this-
And
with
that's
this
not
election.
going to define the
Literally,
race.
it's like,
Determine the
which
race.
evil do I want more? I
Yeah.
don't want either.
A lot of people
They're
saying
both
that.
crap.
By the way, a $2 million investment into potentially $4 billion
Yep.
is brilliant.
Not as good as the
business.
guys from St. Louis, the St. Louis Spirit, who are still paid.
That's true.
Remember
for
that?
the NBA.
Yeah, but
Yes.
how about using that $4 billion, buying another team, and doubling that? Now they're going to have a team in Vegas.
No, they're doing dramatic. Yes.
See what I'm
exactly.
saying? They're
doing pretty well.
businessmen, and there's not a lot of guys that I know better than that. So I'm not going to sit here and try to
Yeah.
explain what they could do to fix it. Like, come on, these guys. I'll sit back and see what they're doing and try to figure that out.
They pump Jay-Z
Smart.
all the time, right?
I
I'm
gotcha.
not a businessman. I'm a business man.
Man, Dominick
Yeah.
Cruz, we got to bounce. Great to meet you, champ. 22-1. He's the bantamweight title holder, and good to meet you, man. We'll follow you on
Awesome.
Twitter from here
Thanks
on
for
out.
having me,
Going
guys.
forward.
Appreciate it.
You got it. All right.